Hello and welcome back to the Thera campaign Abridged, playing as the League of Privateers, in which last time we just progressed the three things we were doing. One of them was taking a bit of the Yellow Spanish guys' territory, we took some of the Viking guys' territory, and we started a nice new war against the Taha Caliphate. They're on two of the continents we're operating on, and we defeated them in some battles to start pushing back after they initially made gains against us. And we're starting this part with another battle against these guys on our home continent. This was a fight where we're being attacked from two directions, and because one of them was right next to our deployment zone, we're fighting them at the line to begin with. In this case, we need to worry about the fact they have some nice big armoured elephants right there. This army is kind of well suited to this situation though. We've got some grenadiers and we have a line of pikes right in front of the elephants. Maybe the pikes get some sort of bonus against them, I don't really know. And of course we're enclosing their whole army up against the line, so at least we've got them contained and under control. Now our grenadiers and archers attack the elephants, while the sacrifices at the back just set up to stop any rear attacks from the army out in the field. I didn't see it, but my grenadiers took out their general on one of the elephants, and this just routs everything. They all start running off the field. Obviously we're not going to kill very many of them because they're routing at the line, but still, that's going to be the first of the armies taken down. The second, I guess. This is their reinforcement army. Bit of grenading into a melee there. That's more dangerous because it does kill your own men, I've noticed, but that's fine. Plenty more where they came from. And now we fight the other part of the battle against the original army. We've got our sacrifices out front to have stopped them, giving me plenty of time to form up ready to do whatever I want once the sacrifices die. And soon we get the fight going, using the grenadiers again to throw over the top and grab some easy kills. I'm guessing this is more useful against armoured troops and stuff, but even against stuff that's not really all that interesting to attack with grenades, it's a bit better than not doing it, so might as well do it. And I did, what a miracle. As for the rest of this battle, even though the balance bar gives them some power, they just got annihilated because we had numbers on our side. We could overwhelm, surround and pound, we killed their captain somewhere, and all of the stuff that's archers, as usual, just get stuck running away. So soon we've caught them in melee, or our cav will go after them. And that's going to be the end of that. We lost a couple of hundred troops, they lost about 1,000, but their reinforcement army is still at least half alive. I figured this would mean that we don't take their settlement. That was a defense of a siege sally, but defying what I thought were the rules, we actually get the settlement. I thought we had to kill a certain percentage of them for that to happen. Didn't appear to be the case here, so that's handy. We've got a new war starting. The Barca Sultanate has declared war on us. No idea who they are, they just have started blockading my ports, so we'll see if anything comes of that. Now here was a nice easy auto-resolve. That didn't go very well. I spammed 2 stacks against 500 troops and they annihilated us with a 20-to-1 kill-death ratio. So that didn't go very well, and I was so confident I wouldn't need to have any auto-resolve shenanigans there that I didn't do any save-scumming opportunities. So we just got taken down and lost 2 armies. I just thought, well fine, I'll make 2 more armies and come back to that another time. For now, we'll look at a manual battle between 2 apparently matched armies. We've got like double their numbers here, but this is our anti-Viking force, which is mostly spammed rabbit boy archers, and rabbit boys I think are the inferior version of the Native American style archers. The peyote dogs are the better ones. Anyway, as this battle begins, we're being attacked by some axe throwing cav. Hoped my archers would take them down, but the line of sight and the shooting into the sky thing is striking today, so we're not taking them out all that effectively. But with sheer numbers, we eventually push them back on our right flank. The same thing is happening on the left, and it takes a bit longer to sort it out, but soon off they go. Then as for the battle, they're going to run right at us. That's going to make life easy. I don't have to move my front line, apart from on the flanks, where we're in a position to start outflanking the enemy. And of course we send in the cav and a few archers and braves around the sides as well, for shenanigans purposes. They've got a few archers who can easily kill. The melees themselves will last a bit longer because they do have some good high defense troops, and a lot of our attacking power is wasted being in archers who are just shooting up into the sky, which will very slowly kill the enemy, but not really. So they do last for a while, but we overcome them eventually. Here is their general in amongst the mix. Looks like our cav have hunted him down and we rout him and then kill him instantly, so that counts as a capture. All the same, because we always execute the captives, as the enemy should well know. That's going to bring this battle to a close. We'll start chasing everything down, and this time, in a rare twist, we've actually killed enough stuff that I don't have to do a route phase, so I don't spend 5 minutes running across the map. We just end the battle right there, a decent ratio. We're healthy enough to power on towards our next target, Odin's Gate. We're nearly at the end of this Viking area. Now, despite losing 2 armies with our push against the Taha, we've got 1 more that's still good to go, so we're making the attack that would be the final attack if that auto-resolve had gone better. Down at the bottom of the continent, there's not much there to defend against us, so that all looks good. We're also going to put together something to attack the other place. Again, just spammed a bunch of mercenaries and units recruited elsewhere to run in and get that going. That first siege I set up though, surprisingly sallied right away, and they even have an advantage. That's because while their army appears to be small, it's small but specialist. They've got loads of elephants, loads of gunners, and they've got some heavy camels under this general. So this very small army makes its way to attack us, and we need to do something about the elephants. My first measure was to put our trash Mesopec troops out in front to absorb the elephants' charge and distract them, while we also hit them with fire arrows and, as they get close, the grenades as well, hoping that will do the business. The thing is, it doesn't do the business, because the elephants just go right through our front line. The sacrifice didn't really do anything. They go through 3 of our lines and up to the 4th pretty much right away. So I'm really hoping these grenade guys will get their act together and start killing some of the elephants. These grenades can kill elephants in 1 hit, but they're also not very good at making their attacks. Here, even when the attacking animation plays, they're not actually doing it. As you can see, they're not throwing anything. So that's not helping. Oh, there goes 1 shot. Now, whatever the case, perhaps it was the fire arrows, something causes the elephants to run amok there. That's handy because they might run amok out of my formation as they do at first. So that will spare us a few lives and perhaps kill some of the enemy's limited troops that are hanging around. I'm going to send my general to go kill some gunners at the back and hope those amok elephants don't do too much damage. The other unit's not amok yet, but it soon does go amok. So we've kind of dealt with both elephant attacks, although they've also killed a whole bunch of our troops in the process. Now we need to win this battle. We successfully get our general out to grab some melees with those gunners. They don't die right away. Maybe this general just isn't that good. He's a new guy. Normally our generals have gold experience on their units, but he'll get there eventually. We do have to keep an eye out though, because the amok elephants might go and kill my general. We need to try and steer away from them if we can. Ideally, we need to kill those elephants while they're running amok, and we do make some progress by just sending the grenadiers around to get in close and attack them. You can see here, once they decide they are going to kill the enemy, they can do it real fast. It just takes them a long time to make that decision. I don't know if it's simulating a reload time with no animation, or whether it's just janky and glitched. It certainly could be a bit of both in this case. So we take out the elephants, and from there we can move on to win this battle. One of their guys tries to escape there, but a few arrows stop him, and then their general fights to the death in amongst our blob, and our general takes him down. So there we go, we successfully overcome the enemy army, but that was a bit of a mess, and I think it was a good idea by the enemy to attack us there, because if we didn't have those grenadiers, or even if we had fewer fire archers, I think we would have actually been annihilated. We didn't lose that many troops to that initial elephant charge. It wasn't as bad as it looked, because a lot of the guys who get smashed get back up. But they could have kept going with that, and had some great success I think. We got away with it, and we took the settlement. We learned though that a jihad has been called on one of the places I took recently, so it's not over in this area. We're going to expect some enemies to show up. But since we know they're going to show up, we can at least recruit a bunch of stuff nearby and have a full stack garrison there. And I come back to that auto-resolve from earlier and do it again essentially. Their maximum level commander is probably what allowed them to win last time. It simulates the AI having godlike skills in battle. In this case though, we do win, and the result was tolerable. So that's that. The war on this front is won, but for this incoming jihad. But still a nice milestone. Next up, we're back on the Viking front, where we need to attack Odin's Gate. There's barely anything inside it, but they do have a surprising amount of presence on the balance bar. and they have an okay commander. So I was hesitant here. I thought this could be a disaster, but I just did a safety save auto-resolve, and the result was fine. We did lose loads of men compared to them, but it's a castle assault, that's fine. In we go, and as you can see, that's just in time to prevent us from being attacked by an incoming army. There is one more Viking settlement to the south of here, but we're not going to go after it right away this time. We're just going to sit in the castle for this turn, see what the enemy do, and start recruiting units and stuff. Now we're going to jump over to a siege I must have missed at some point during the last 5 turns. I laid siege to another of the Taha Caliphate's settlements in the central continent with the army that took down the Yellow Guy's castle last time. And as you can see, it had a full stack inside, another stack showed up, and we eventually end up fighting 2 enemy armies at the same time, despite my attempt to escape from this. At least neither army has a commander, that will lower their morale. There are some elephants in the first army, but it's no elephant spam, so we're okay. In fact, it's mostly archers and camels. We have a decent battlefield in that I can completely secure my right flank with some buildings, that's handy. Meanwhile, you can see I'm already starting to fold around on the left. The enemy attacked without waiting for their reinforcements to catch up properly. So we're really just facing the first army here. Handily, their elephants kind of walked up to my archers and then just stood there. This was the moment for my gunners to gun them down, but of course they're very busy doing nothing. I've set up stakes this time, so I'm going to fall back behind the stakes, hoping maybe we could draw the camels and elephants onto them. I thought that might do something. But indeed the elephants just stood there. They're actually a ranged unit, so that explains why. They're throwing javelins at us, I guess. Unfortunately, my gunners weren't very proactive about shooting them or doing anything really. I think they were frozen in time for a while. The pure jank is back, so we need to get out of there, and soon some general melees begin. I want to push up on the right because there's a juicy blob of archers back there. If we can get some cav in amongst them, that will do a lot of damage. This time I've actually got a regular cav unit aside from my general's bodyguard, perhaps a first for this campaign, or a first for using the pirate-specific cav units at least. We've got some hussars rushing in. This general is delayed by some enemy camels getting in the way, but the hussars will go for the archer blob. Meanwhile, there's a melee fight going on, but that fight's okay across the front line. The enemy don't have very much there, so while we're just using our regular pirates, we at least match them. I'm hoping still that my archers or gunners might kill the elephants. Well, at least the elephants aren't trying to kill us very hard, so that's perfect. My advance up on the right is denied by the arrival of some fresh camels. They charge right into the front of my pirates, but it doesn't do very much. I guess they don't have much charge bonus. I'm going to get some archers to shoot them down and cancel the attack up the right for now. My attack around the left and to the back is kind of happening. We're getting some skirmishing and routing going in amongst the enemy archers. That's perfect. We repel those camels on the right, and now I'm going to move up. We can secure this whole area thanks to the impassable buildings and have a really safe outflanking position to use against the middle. And also, at this point, somebody finally kills those elephants. You can see the elephants there suddenly start dropping. I'm guessing either our gunners started shooting or they were shooting the whole time and just depleted the enemy's hit points, and at last the elephants go down. Among the elephants was their leader, so that's going to reduce morale, and overall a great move. The enemy still technically have that balance bar advantage with the second army now joining the fray, but the fray is going to get nice and messy, which should be to our advantage. Their archers are going to be caught running all over the place due to skirmishing, since we're kind of behind them already, and they're all standing on top of each other. A big wave of camels is coming in towards my main line, or what's left of it. We're just going to take that wave and take a bunch of casualties, but once they're stuck in the bowl of troops we're forming, our archers can shoot on in there and take out most of the camels. And from here, the battle turns into a bit of the classic skirmish, routing, chasing stuff. There are units all over the field. It's an absolutely enormous mess, but it's a mess to our advantage. Basically everything's running away. Occasionally we're getting caught by camels attacking our cav, but at this stage, with those army losses probably building up, if army losses are even in this game, their morale isn't very high, or perhaps it's just not very high because their general's dead at this stage. Long story short, we're able to drive everything else off the field. I'm trying to get as many kills as possible, because while this isn't actually a siege draw-out, it's nearly one. We're fighting the garrison we would have had to fight in a more difficult battle if it hadn't come out to engage here. So if we can kill everything, we may be able to leave the town empty. That's what I was thinking. After a long time attempting to do this, We reached the number I'm satisfied with, and there we go. Looks like it wasn't quite enough. That second army is going to be still alive by the 85% rule. But at least we won the battle. We lost about a third of our forces. We've still got plenty to go on though, and we could just re-recruit at the nearby castle and get a bunch more stuff to replace losses relatively fast. We're going to go right on to another fight though, because you may remember, like a couple of episodes ago now, we got sieged on the Vampire Island with an army that's been sitting there ever since. We've lost about half of our army to the siege actually, as the enemy gradually weaken us and get us to the point when they feel like attacking. And here it is, the much sought after castle defense battle, a rare specimen. We've got plenty of archers to attack their ram and towers with, but as usual those archers don't really work on these higher level sieges. You can see most of the arrows are going up to the sky. So it's going to be pretty hard to get fire on them using the fire archers at least. The towers will sometimes shoot flaming bolts in a more useful trajectory, and these archers can't see down to attack the guys who are setting up ladders below them, so that's inconvenient as well. I often wonder, is this issue in the vanilla game? I haven't really played much of vanilla Medieval 2, so I don't know, but it seems like the sort of thing somebody should have noticed, a rather large oversight. But here we are, not doing very much with our archers, but that said, in the background you can see we do set one of the siege towers on fire, although that will have been mostly because of the tower bolts. That's good, one less entrance to defend. But they are going to get 2 sets of ladders and a tower set up, and their ram does make it to the gates. However, for both of the ladder attacks, they don't achieve all that much actually. Both of them seem to be routed the moment they come up and fight with us. There's one unit of trash spears on their way out, and some even more trash, some serfs. Just climb up, rout and go back down. So there we go, the ladders are dealt with. And as we've seen before in this campaign, once the ladders have been cleared, they're not going to bother sending anything else to climb up them, because everybody else is waiting for the gate to open, meaning we can just cluster around the gatehouse. We also defeat the one unit that came over the siege tower, and now we're a bit later where the gate has been opened. I'm throwing this pike square into the gateway. Probably moving them here at the last second is messing things up, but in theory that's a good idea. Fighting some actual vampires who are the first to come through. They don't look all that powerful, luckily enough. Perhaps they have high melee stats or something. So yes, now we just cluster around here. Looks like I'm struggling to give the orders, but the idea is there. I'm trying to throw things into a blob because I was conscious of the fact the enemy are going to blob their way in, and with their mass they can potentially break through if we don't have enough mass blobbing up on our side as well. The castle oil thing is killing a few enemies while they're in the gate, that's handy. So yes, now a brawl. All of our pirates will face off against a bunch of stuff in there. I'm hoping my archers can be shooting down to support. We're in ideal positions to do it, but I'm pretty sure nothing has line of sight. They can pretty much only see up, most of our archers, so not doing very much. The towers will be shooting the enemy though. Some enemy crossbowmen have got stuck trying to use that siege tower, so they're just not in action. That's handy. And we're starting to see some things go to fight to the death in this blob. That's good, means their morale is low. And after a while of fighting, the leader of the enemy army is captured in the blob, and that signals the end of that. Everything suddenly starts routing back out of the gates, and we're going to pursue them and grab a whole bunch of kills. At this stage, the battle is effectively won. That was their one chance to break through, but we spammed enough pirates to keep them in position, even after taking all those casualties from the long turns of siege. Some of their stuff did stop routing outside of the castle, so we saw a few more small fights out in the wilderness. Nothing too much to worry about. We can just micro a whole bunch of stuff, including the gun cav, and once the guns fire, that's a morale shock. That's enough to rout most stuff. Here's the final result. It went pretty well. The enemy army is dead. We're alive, although if you factor in the casualties from the siege, not really. We did lose like more than half of our force during the entire siege effect. Now then, the game crashes after that battle. This crash also corrupted my most recent save, so after some shenanigans I was able to get back to a save that was before this siege attack, and when the attack comes about, I just used this console command, which guarantees you'll get a good auto-resolve, and there we go, we get a good auto-resolve and kill them. That result was actually a bit better for us, but also better for them. We didn't quite kill their whole army. And you can see, we don't have any time to breathe after that siege, because another army immediately continues the siege. We will have our supplies back technically, so we'll stop taking so much attrition, but they're certainly not letting the pressure up over there. We can now finish off the survivors of our big battle with the Taha Caliphate from earlier. A relatively easy siege attack against a good commander, but the result was actually pretty good. So that's all nice. We sacked the settlement, and now we have a more substantial foothold up here, and a really good settlement to recruit from as well. Up north, I noticed that the vampires are actually attacking the place I was going to attack belonging to the Vikings. With that in mind, I needed to decide where to go. I could either go in and kill the vampires and then kill the Vikings, or I can go back because the Vikings are, in the meantime, looking like they're going to attack me. Now my main priority here was to do the fastest thing. I didn't really want to go back and fight these guys because it would be annoying. It would be more fun to push onwards and take their settlement. Annoyingly, I couldn't end the war. I was willing to consider that as an option and just kill the Vikings and then sail off. So, while I didn't want to fight them, as I said, I eventually conceded to the fact that I probably should. Walked back over here and rage quit. So at the start of the next part, we'll see this fight is just going to be more spammed rabbit boys against a mix of Viking units and some American style units as well. Perhaps one day we'll find the enemy using a counter to spammed rabbit boys, but based on what we've seen so far, this probably won't be it. We'll find out next time.